The 1950s, a time when America felt full of hope, energy, and boundless possibility. The war was over, families were growing, and the great American highway stretched endlessly into the horizon. Back then, cars weren't just machines, they were reflections of dreams, symbols of status, and expressions of personal style. And among all the shapes and sizes rolling off Detroit's assembly lines, one stood tall as the perfect blend of form and function, the station wagon. These weren't the dull, boxy family haulers we picture today. No, the station wagons of the 50s were masterpieces of design. They wore shimmering chrome, jet-age tail fins, gleaming wood panels, and wide grilles that smiled at the open road. They promised adventure, freedom, and class, all while carrying the kids, the dog, and the picnic basket. Today we take a nostalgic journey back in time to rediscover 12 of the most beautiful and unforgettable station wagons of the 1950s, rolling works of art that defined an era. And who knows, maybe you'll spot your dream wagon along the way. 1. 1955 Chevrolet Nomad, the sporty wagon that defied expectations. In the golden age of chrome and curves, one car rolled onto the scene and completely shattered what people thought a station wagon could be, the 1955 Chevrolet Nomad. This wasn't your typical family hauler. No, the Nomad looked like a concept car had accidentally made its way onto suburban driveways. With its bold stance and rakish two-door coupe styling, it was unlike anything the American market had ever seen. At first glance, the Nomad could pass for a sleek sports coupe until you noticed the long roof and cargo space out back. It was a visual contradiction in the best way possible. Practicality wrapped in flair. The Nomad's design DNA came straight from the Corvette Nomad concept car unveiled at GM's 1954 Motorama, a traveling auto show that previewed the future. That influence was clear in every sweeping curve and every chrome accent. Under the hood, Chevrolet debuted its now legendary 265 cubic inch turbo-fire V8, a major leap in performance for the brand. Paired with the updated Powerglide automatic or 3-speed manual, the Nomad wasn't just pretty, it could cruise with confidence. Though sales didn't soar, the Nomad was more expensive than your average wagon. It found a second life in the hearts of collectors. It became a cult classic, a symbol of the adventurous spirit of the mid-1950s. Today, the 55 Nomad stands tall as one of the most beautiful and unique wagons in American automotive history, a rolling work of art, from a time when style truly mattered. 2. 1957 Buick Caballero Estate Wagon, the luxury wagon with jet-age attitude. In 1957, while most wagons quietly blended into the neighborhood landscape, one dared to roll up with a trumpet fanfare and a grin full of chrome, the Buick Caballero Estate Wagon. This was no meek grocery getter. The Caballero was Buick's boldest answer to the question, what if a station wagon didn't have to be boring? Built during the era of tail fins and jet-age dreams, the Caballero shared its wild design language with the rest of Buick's lineup. A wide, chrome-encrusted grille grinned across the front end like a movie star's smile. The body lines flowed like molten steel, draped over fenders that flared with power and purpose. And then there was its signature feature, the 4-door pillarless hardtop design. That's right, no B-pillars between the front and rear doors, allowing for a clean, open-air look when the windows were down. It was rare, it was radical, and it was downright beautiful. Power came from Buick's refined 364 cubic inch nailhead V8 engine, producing a smooth yet assertive 300 horsepower. Paired with the Dynaflow automatic transmission, it offered effortless acceleration and highway comfort. The Caballero wasn't built for speed, it was built for prestige, for showing up in style and gliding away like a boss. Only around 14,000 units were produced in 1957, making the Caballero one of the rarest and most sought-after wagons of the era. It wasn't just a car, it was a rolling contradiction, equal parts muscle, luxury, and elegance. For collectors today, finding one in pristine condition is like discovering buried treasure. Number 3. 1953 Pontiac Chieftain Deluxe Wagon, the post-war dream on wheels. Take a trip back to 1953, a time when optimism surged across America. The war was over, suburbs were growing, and every family dreamed of wide-open highways and summer road trips. In the middle of it all rolled a car that captured that post-war spirit perfectly, the Pontiac Chieftain Deluxe Wagon. From the moment you saw it, the Chieftain looked proud, wearing its Native American hood ornament like a badge of honor. It didn't just transport families, it told a story of ambition, confidence, and a bright future. It looked solid, reliable, and distinctly American. The Chieftain's long, low roofline and broad fenders gave it an imposing stance, yet there was elegance in its curves. Chrome trim traced the body lines and lit up the car in the sun like jewelry. Step inside, and you'd find a spacious cabin with practical seating for the whole family and a dash that blended Art Deco with functionality. Under the hood, Pontiac's 268 cubic inch flathead straight-eight engine quietly did its job. It wasn't a race car, but it didn't need to be. It offered smooth, steady power, perfect for leisurely cruising down Route 66 or navigating the winding roads of a summer vacation. The suspension was soft, soaking up bumps with grace and giving families a serene ride across the growing network of American highways. The 1953 Chieftain Deluxe wagon became a symbol of its time, a reliable workhorse dressed in Sunday clothes. It's not flashy by today's standards, but that's part of its magic. It's a humble hero of mid-century motoring, a car that offered families the freedom to dream and the wheels to chase those dreams. 1950 Ford Country Squire, the last of the true woodies. Before vinyl wood-grain decals became the norm, before plastic panels pretended to be something more, there was the 1950 Ford Country Squire, the real deal, a true woody wagon in every sense. It marked the end of an era when cars were crafted more like furniture than machines. Every panel of maple and birch was hand-cut, sanded and varnished to perfection. No mass-produced shortcuts, just pure American craftsmanship, sealed into steel and timber. Under the hood purred the legendary 23.9 cubic inch flathead V8. It wasn't about speed or raw horsepower. It was about a smooth, quiet ride that felt like gliding through Americana itself. With 100 horsepower on tap and a 3-speed manual transmission, it delivered steady performance for the slower, more optimistic roads of post-war America. Inside, you'd find vinyl bench seats, chrome-rimmed gauges, and just enough space to stretch out without sacrificing practicality. It was the kind of car you could wax on a Saturday and road trip in on a Sunday. Today, the 1950 Ford Country Squire is more than just a vintage vehicle. It's a rolling time capsule. A tribute to the days when auto building was as much art as it was industry. To collectors, it's a symbol of a quieter, handcrafted America. And to classic car lovers, it's the final chapter in the story of the real wood-paneled wagon. 1957 Mercury Colony Park, the jet-age luxury cruiser. If wagons were judged like yachts, the 1957 Mercury Colony Park would be the flagship of the fleet. This wasn't just a station wagon, it was a luxury liner on wheels. Stretching over 214 inches long, and sitting on Mercury's new Turnpike Cruiser platform, the Colony Park turned the idea of a family car into a rolling VIP lounge. From the outside, it announced its presence with confidence. Sweeping tail fins, bold body lines, and faux wood paneling that blended mid-century elegance with futuristic style. The wood may have been simulated, but the sophistication was real. Chrome accents wrapped every corner. The wraparound windshield gave the driver an almost panoramic view of the road, while rear jet-age taillights looked like something off a science fiction set. Under the hood sat the formidable 368 cubic inch MLL V8, delivering over 290 horsepower. Matched with the smooth shifting Merco-matic automatic transmission, the Colony Park cruised like a luxury sedan. Silent on the highway, confident in motion, powerful enough to tow a boat, yet refined enough to impress the neighbors at the country club. With limited production numbers and high prices, the Colony Park wasn't for everyone. But those lucky enough to own one knew it was special. Today, it's revered by collectors and design enthusiasts alike as one of the most ambitious wagons ever built, a rare blend of elegance, excess, and innovation from the heart of the jet-age dream. Number 6. 1958. Oldsmobile Super 88 Fiesta Wagon, a rolling rocket ship. There are wagons, and then there's the 1958 Oldsmobile Super 88 Fiesta Wagon. A car so drenched in chrome, so wild in design, it looked like it could launch into orbit. Built at the height of the space race and automotive excess, this wasn't just a vehicle, it was a rolling tribute to America's fascination with flight, power, and futuristic fantasy. The rear featured a panoramic roofline and slanted rear glass, designed to create an open, airy feel for rear passengers while enhancing the car's futuristic silhouette. The overall design was more spaceship than station wagon, and that was exactly the point. Inside, the Fiesta didn't hold back. Chrome-rimmed aviation gauges, two-tone bench seats, and rocket-inspired knobs and switches brought a sense of excitement to the cabin. Everything felt designed for drama and delight. But the real power came from under the hood, the rocket 305 horsepower V8, Oldsmobile's pride and joy. It moved this over 4,000-pound beast with surprising urgency, thanks to its advanced high-compression design. The combination of performance and prestige made the Fiesta one of the fastest wagons of its time. Though the styling may have gone too far for some buyers, 1958 was a notoriously polarizing year for GM. The Fiesta is now celebrated for exactly that reason. It's a shining example of a time when car design was unchained, unfiltered, and unapologetically bold. 7. 1956 Dodge Sierra Custom Wagon. Beauty, brawn, and blue-collar backbone. In the mid-1950s, Dodge was carving out a reputation for boldness, and nowhere was that more apparent than in the 1956 Dodge Sierra Custom Wagon, a car that balanced style and substance better than just about any wagon of its era. With its squared-off nose, aggressive front grille, and flared rear fenders, the Sierra wore Dodge's rising forward-look design language with confidence. This was no wallflower. It had road presence, angular, slightly rebellious, and unmistakably Dodge. But it wasn't all show. This wagon was built to work, and built to last. Inside, the Sierra delivered practical elegance. Spacious three-row seating allowed it to carry up to 9 passengers with ease. The dashboard was simple yet functional, with large, easy-to-read gauges and clean switchgear. Two-tone upholstery gave the cabin a pop of mid-century flair, and the oversized steering wheel reinforced the feeling that you were commanding a serious piece of machinery. What truly set the Sierra Custom apart was its balance. It was dependable without being dull, stylish without being flashy, powerful without being pretentious. A car that blue-collar families could be proud of and rely on. Today, the 56 Sierra Custom is remembered as a quiet hero, a hard-working, good-looking machine that didn't seek the spotlight but still managed to earn it. In the world of vintage wagons, it's one of the most underrated yet most beloved classics of them all. 8 950 wagons. Few matched the quiet sophistication of the 1951 Chrysler Town & Country. This wasn't a car for showing off at the drive-in or racing down the highway. It was for country club dinners, weekend escapes to the lake, and dignified arrivals wherever it went. It whispered class, and it did so with unmatched refinement. Its exterior was a masterpiece of real wood craftsmanship. Genuine solid maple and birch framed the steel panels, not as decoration but as integral parts of the body. Artisans spent hours shaping and fitting each section by hand, in a process more reminiscent of coach building than car manufacturing. The result was elegance in motion, especially when paired with Chrysler's two-tone pastel paint schemes and tasteful chrome accents. Inside, the luxury continued. Plush broadcloth upholstery, polished wood interior trim, and a smooth, symmetrical dashboard created a space that felt more like a vintage drawing room than a family wagon. Driving this car wasn't just transportation, it was a tranquil experience. Power came from Chrysler's trusty Spitfire inline-6, paired with the innovative fluid-drive semi-automatic transmission, a unique hybrid between manual and automatic that allowed for buttery-smooth shifting. It wasn't a speedster, but it glided down the road with a calm dignity few cars could match. By 1951, the automotive world was moving toward cheaper, faster production, but the Town & Country stood proudly apart. It was among the last wagons to use real structural wood. After this, the Woody would become a styling gimmick, never again the genuine article. Today, surviving examples are few and prized. The 51 Town & Country isn't just a rare collectible, it's a final love letter to craftsmanship in American car design. A wagon that didn't just carry people, it carried prestige. 9.5 Edsel Villager Wagon. The quirky classic that defied the odds. Say the word Edsel, and most car lovers will wince. The name is practically synonymous with failure, but hidden within that infamous brand was a sleeper hit, the 1959 Edsel Villager Wagon. Quirky? Absolutely, but also bold, stylish, and surprisingly forward-thinking. Inside, it was just as wild. With three-row seating, the Villager could haul a big family with room to spare. But it's the Teletouch push-button transmission mounted in the center of the steering wheel that really captured imaginations. It was futuristic, daring, and yes, a little buggy. But for a brand that only lasted a few short years, Edsel certainly shot for the moon. Under the hood, buyers could choose between Ford's dependable 292 or 332 cubic inch V8s. These engines delivered solid, reliable performance, plenty for highway cruising or everyday errands. And despite Edsel's sales disaster, the Villager remained one of the more practical and stylish wagons of the lineup. Only a few thousand 59 Villagers were ever produced. Today, that rarity, combined with its weird, wonderful design, makes it a cult favorite. It's a wagon for the rebels, the collectors who love underdogs, and those who appreciate the bold risks that sometimes didn't pay off, but sure made history. 1952, Nash Rambler Wagon, the compact pioneer. In a decade obsessed with size and flash, the 1952 Nash Rambler Wagon went in a different direction. It wasn't big, it wasn't flashy, and it wasn't trying to impress your neighbors. But what it lacked in bravado, it more than made up for in ingenuity and charm. But what really set the Rambler apart was its convertible interior. Rear seats could be folded completely flat to create a bed, a novelty in the early 50s that predated the camper van craze by decades. For young couples and growing families, it was the perfect mix of utility and innovation. Under the hood was a reliable inline-six engine, tuned for efficiency rather than power. It wouldn't win drag races, but it would get you across town or across the country with minimal fuss. And for post-war families watching their budgets, that was gold. The Rambler wagon helped launch a new segment in American car culture, the practical, affordable, compact wagon. Without it, we might never have seen the rise of the hatchback, the crossover, or even the SUV. Today, the 1952 Nash Rambler is a reminder that sometimes the smartest ideas don't come with tail fins or big engines. Sometimes they come wrapped in simplicity and a little quirky charm. 1958 Packard Station Wagon, the final farewell. The 1958 Packard Station Wagon is a car steeped in bittersweet nostalgia. By this time, the once glorious Packard Motor Car Company had merged with Studebaker and was fighting to stay alive. The 1958 wagon, though wearing the Packard nameplate, was essentially a rebadged Studebaker Commander, built on a modest budget, with far less fanfare than the Packards of the past. Yet there's something quietly beautiful about this car. The heavy chrome, the long arching roofline, the graceful contours, it still carried a certain elegance. You could see the ghost of Packard's golden era in the design, a hint of the brand's old dignity, barely clinging to life. Inside, it was modest but tasteful. Vinyl bench seats, a clean dashboard, and decent trim made it comfortable enough for family use. But under the hood was a Studebaker-sourced 289 cubic inch V8, a decent engine, but far from the 12-cylinder luxury motors that had once defined Packard's glory. And then there's the number, just 159 units built. That makes it not only one of the rarest wagons of the decade, but one of the rarest Packards ever made. Today, the 1958 Packard wagon is a collector's curiosity, a symbol of the final flicker before the lights went out. For enthusiasts, it's not just a car, it's a goodbye. One last echo of a once proud name that helped shape American luxury. 1955 Pontiac Safari Wagon, the Nomad's Classier cousin. Built on the same sleek two-door platform as the Chevrolet Nomad, the 1955 Pontiac Safari Wagon took everything good about that icon and added a layer of luxury and refinement. It was the connoisseur's wagon, fewer in number, bolder in style, and packed with Pontiac's signature flair. The exterior was unmistakable, split twin grills, a flowing beltline of polished chrome, and subtle nods to Native American imagery, like the Indian chief medallions. Every panel was thoughtfully designed, every detail intentional. Where the Nomad was sporty and flashy, the Safari was poised and elegant. Inside, the upscale treatment continued. Rich two-tone leather upholstery, a deluxe dashboard with deep chrome trim, and the futuristic flair of Pontiac's Strato Street design language gave the cabin a distinctly high-end feel. It was the kind of car that didn't just take the family on vacation, it made the journey feel first class. Under the hood, Pontiac's brand-new Strato Street V8, delivering lively performance for a wagon of its size. Paired with either a manual or hydromatic automatic transmission, the Safari had the muscle to match its looks. Only 3,760 Safari wagons were produced in 1955, making it one of the rarest GM wagons of the Tri-5 era. Collectors treasure it not just for its scarcity, but for its perfect balance of performance, style, and sophistication. In the world of classic wagons, the Safari remains a quiet legend. The rare cousin who may not have made the biggest splash, but left the deepest impression. The 1950s station wagon wasn't just a car, it was the backdrop to America's golden age. Rolling snapshots of families, road trips, and the open highway. These weren't cold machines, they were part of the family. From the finely carved Chrysler Town & Country, to the audacious lines of the Edsel Villager, to the compact brilliance of the Nash Rambler, each wagon told a story of where we were headed as a nation, of craftsmanship, ambition, and occasionally, failure. But always with soul. Which of these rolling legends caught your eye? Did your family own one? Or maybe you remember riding in the back, watching the world go by through wraparound glass. We'd love to hear your stories, drop them in the comments below. And if this journey through vintage chrome and wood grain brought back memories or made you fall in love with a forgotten classic, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Here at Regal Rides, the past is always riding shotgun. Until next time, stay curious, stay nostalgic, and keep rolling.